Hello, grade 9 students. Welcome to another English A lesson with me, Miss Lydia Tony. Today, we will be examining the letter of application for employment. So just get your pens and your books and let us get into the lesson. Right. Let's look at the forms of job application. There are three main ways that you can apply for employment. First, you can do a formal letter containing the applicant's, or which is you're the applicant, containing the applicant's details, example, age, and qualifications. Secondly, you can write a curriculum vitae, also known as a CV, with an introductory letter. And thirdly, some places prefer that you complete a form which they provide. So those are the three main ways in which you can apply for a job. Now, at some point, all of you out there will either be looking for a job or you will create your own employment. But just in case you have to go job hunting, you need to know how to write your letter of application. Now, a job application letter, also known as a cover letter, is a letter you send with your resume to provide information on your skills and experience. This letter is your chance to sell yourself to an employer, explaining why you are an ideal candidate for a position. Structure of the job application letter. This type of letter is formal in nature and should follow the formal letter structure. I hope you can remember the formal letter structure, but just in case you don't remember, I will refresh you. Just to remind you of one format of the formal letter, this style is the indented style. Remember, you also have the block style. But in the indented style, you have your address and the date on the top right hand, followed by the address of the recipient on the left hand. Underneath that, you have your greeting, then you have the body, and the closure way below. We'll continue to look at the structure of the job application letter. In the opening, you state the purpose of the letter, how you learned about the job, example, whether it was via the newspaper. In the body of the letter, you state your qualifications and show how it meets the needs of the employer. You mention your experience and abilities and skills. Show how they can benefit the employer. Refer to your resume. In the closure, highlight your interest in the job, emphasize your major qualities, and ask for an interview. Now, I know you've been hearing this word resume, and further in the lesson, you will be able to understand fully what the resume is all about. Here are some useful language structures. In the introduction, you can say, I'd like to apply for the job, post, or position advertised in, or with reference to your advertisement in, or I'm interested in the post of. For experience, you can say I've had experience of, or for the last how much ever years I've been doing so and so, or I've done such before. To talk about your interests, you can say, I'm very interested in, or the post interests me because, or I would welcome the opportunity to gain more experience. And to close, you can say, I am available for an interview, or I am willing to present myself for an interview, or I look forward to hearing from you. Now here is an example of a letter of application with just the cover alone. So we have the address of the person, the date, and then the address of the recipient. And we go to our greeting or salutation. Dear Mrs. Charles, I am applying for the position of library assistant at the National Library Center. I was informed of the vacancy by the chief librarian, who encouraged me to submit an application. I have obtained 6 CSEC examination passes, including distinctions in English A and B. For the past 3 years, I have worked as a part-time librarian at the Central Library in Kitty. I also served as a Clerk 1 in the Ministry of Information from 2006 to 2008. I intend to pursue a career in library science, and I believe that this position will help me gain experience. I enjoy reading, research, and information gathering. I have also participated in storytelling and drama activities in high school. I am committed to making a valuable contribution if given the opportunity. I look forward to serving as a librarian. The chief librarian and my high school principal have agreed to be referees. I'm willing to attend an interview at your convenience. Yours truly, Jamie Harris. So, if you have noticed that the information presented in the letter follow the guidelines that we looked at previously. Now we're going to look at writing a curriculum vitae, which is commonly referred to as CV or resume. So now we're finding out what is a resume. So what is a curriculum vitae? A curriculum vitae, also called a resume, is a concise and accurate summary of your qualifications. It highlights your experience, abilities, and achievements. It is a balance of educational qualities and experience. Employers will evaluate you by your CV. It gives the employer the first impression of you and your qualifications. So there are persons who they've been home a long time, probably have been sending out applications, but sometimes when the employer may examine that CV, it might not suit them. It could be that you are not as qualified for the job as they would like for you to be, or in some cases you probably are overqualified and so they wouldn't hire you. What information should be included in a CV? So the following categories of information should be included, and this is every time you write your CV, you need to include these particular information. Firstly, personal information, which includes your name, address, marital status, telephone number, email. Your career objectives. So this will say where you see yourself in the next few years. Your education, and you talk about the institutions that you've attended and the timing that you've attended those institutions. Your qualifications, your employment history, whether or not you have been employed before and whether or not it is in a similar capacity. Your experience, your hobbies and interests, and your references. Now, references should come from a notable person, either your head teacher, your pastor, a JP, somebody like that. And that is why teachers would usually tell students that they need to behave themselves, because your reference tells about your character. And nobody wants to recommend somebody who's been misbehaving all the time. Now here's an example of a curriculum vitae. And if you examine it, you will see that the word curriculum vitae is written at the top boldly, followed by the name of the person just underneath. At the side, you have all the components that we just discussed that should be on the curriculum vitae. So we have the name of the person, Jamie Harris, marital status, this person is single. We have the address of the person, 14 Red Brick Road, Kitty. We have their telephone number, 684-1789. We have their email, harrisj@gmail.com. We have their career objective, which is to be chief librarian. Their education, this person attended Christianburg High School between the years 2004 to 2009. their qualifications. They gain 5 CSEC passes, and we have the subjects listed there with the grade passed. And we have experience. This person has had 3 years part-time experience as a librarian, and they've indicated the year. And we have their hobbies, which is reading, researching, information gathering. And lastly, we have references, which is available upon request. But I would not advise that you write that. I would advise that you include your references at the same time, because that would probably give you an advantage over somebody who puts available upon request. So remember, your references has to come from somebody of notable position within your community. Now, to conclude this lesson, remember that a job application letter is a formal letter. There are 3 main forms of application for employment. A job application letter, also known as a cover letter, is a letter you send with your resume to provide information on your skills and experience. A curriculum vitae, also called a resume, is a concise and accurate summary of your qualifications. Now, for your activity, what I would like for you to do is get your newspaper and you check through it for a vacancy that you're interested in. And you write a job application letter and curriculum vitae in response to that vacancy. For further readings on this topic, you can go to www.thebalancecareers.com, or you can go into the textbooks. We have English for All, Examinations Level, CSEC by Roy Narayan Singh with Bades Sitahal Maraj, or a comprehensive English course, CXC English A by Uriel Narayan Singh and Clifford Narayan Singh. And for quotes, you can go to birdaywishes.expert. Now we've come to the end of our lesson. Thank you for joining once more, and I hope that you have been informed. Thanks for spending your time with me. And I will leave you with a quote by Sophocles, which says, "Without labor, nothing prospers." So don't expect to get anything by magic. You have to put in the work. Until next time, thank you for joining me. Be good to yourselves.